Very good, friends. Doc South here. I just got a neat story. I don't know. It came to mind. A friend of mine has a son who's just learning to drum. Yeah, to be a drummer, taking lessons. Yeah, and the first of hopefully what will be hundreds upon hundreds of lessons, and then he'll start doing lessons himself. Yeah, start giving them, and perhaps being maybe he'll be a good drummer. He seems to show an aptitude for it. And I just remembered a story as I was thinking about drummers. I remember, oh God, this was 20 years ago maybe, right about when I met Sandy. I had a little antique shop, and a guy came in one day, and well, naturally, I had old music playing on my turntable there at the store. And this guy, I think I was playing some big band music, and there happened to be a band that had Gene Krupa in it, probably Benny Goodman's band. I might have been playing, I think it was Sing, 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 his big song. And Gene Krupa was doing, I think it was Gene Krupa in the original version, a very young Gene Krupa, doing a humongous drum solo. And I was listening to it, bopping around and stuff. And the guy said, "My God," he said, "that's Gene Krupa." He says, "You're playing him." I said, "Yeah." He says, "Do you know," he says, "I played once with Gene Krupa." I said, "No way." He says, "Yeah, I did." And you'll like this story. He said, I was in high school. I was in my school jazz band. Okay, all high schools have something like that. And he said, and I was the drummer. And Gene Krupa was my absolute idol. And well, he said, I got to be reasonably good, I guess. He said, and I was with the jazz band in school. We played gigs and all that. And he said, towards graduation, he said, I was a senior, and my mom said, since you're graduating, your graduation gift. Back then there was a relatively a simple gift would do for graduation. People weren't giving kids, a trip to Aruba or a brand new car. Or, I don't know, the lease on an apartment on Fifth Avenue. They'd give you simple things. And Mom said, "You know what?" She said, his mom said, "I'm going to take you into New York City. Gene Krupa has a club, and we'll have lunch in there. We can't afford supper at that place, but I think we can do lunch, you and me. What do you say?" The kid said, "Well, yeah." This man as a kid said, "Yeah, Ma, cool," and he couldn't have been happier. So the big day comes. It's luncheon at Gene Krupa's club. And there's a floor show going on. Gene Krupa's pounding on the drums, the band's playing, and they're eating their cheeseburger or whatever and fries. And the mom tips the maitre d' and says, "Listen, my son's in the high school jazz band. Do you think maybe you could get Gene Krupa to come over and just say hi to him, maybe sign an autograph?" And the maitre d' says, "Well, yeah." He said, "I appreciate the tip, but really you don't need it. I'll go ask." "Yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy. We like working for him. He'll probably come over here. Enjoy your meal." Okay. So anyway, the kid's eating. He's working on his chocolate sundae or whatever. They're going to hang out for the next show and all that. And and all of a sudden the kid turns. He thinks it's a waiter, and he looks up, and it's Gene Krupa. And yeah, Gene Krupa, and Krupa shakes hands with the guy. By the way, the guy said he had one heck of a handshake. Yeah, well, you can imagine the muscles a drummer would have. And he said, "Kid, I hear you're in high school jazz band. That's what the maitre d' told me." Your kid said, "Yeah," and he says, "God, you're my idol, Mr. Krupa." He says, "Call me Gene." He said, "Gene, Gene?" He says, "Wow." Mom's going out of her mind. She's so tickled and happy with what's going on. And Krupa says, "So you're in your school jazz band, huh? Yeah, and you're just graduating?" "Yeah," he says, yeah. And he says, "Well, I'll tell you what." He says, "We got a show after, in about another half hour?" Yeah. Kid says, "Yeah, we're staying for it." He said, "Well, I hope so, because you're going to be in it." "What?" The kid goes out of his mind. He says, You got to be kidding." "No," he says, "you're going to be in the big deal. We're gonna do a 1 hour show. We're setting up a drum set. I got the stagehands working on it. If you say yes, They can have a drum set up for you. In fact, you ought to go back and make sure it's how you want it, and you'll play with me. We'll share the duty. What do you say? The kid says, "Oh my God." He says, "Yeah, I'll do that. That'd be fantastic. Wow." And he says, "Now you can play all right." He says, "I'm in my high school jazz band for what that's worth." He says, "Good enough for me," says Krupa. Well, he says, he says, "I had to start out too. Come on, let's go back, check out the drums. Ma, coffee's on the house. You want a martini?" She says, "Mom, I think I do." Off they go, Krupa and the kid. And they set up. Pretty soon, he says, there he is. He's backstage setting up his drum. The curtains are drawn, of course. And, they sit down, and the kid's just checking out his drums a little bit quietly, just making sure he's got them where he wants them. And and Krupa comes in. He's dressed up a little nicer, and the band's all setting down. They're wishing the kid good luck. And giving each other the elbow. They'd all been there, done that too at one time or another. And pretty soon the kid can hear out on the other side of the curtain the announcer saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, special guest." And they named the kid. And on drums, along with the Gene Krupa band and Gene Krupa himself, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause. They open up the curtain, and there he is. He's staring at the crowd, and they start playing. And the kid Krupa says, he hollers to the kid, "Just play along with me, pal." And bang, bang, and they're pounding on the drums and just having the best old darn time. And the kid got to do a few solos. He got a few chances to riff back and forth with Krupa. And he said it was absolutely the best day of his life, bar none. I said, "Yeah." He says, "Bar none." He says, "Oh my God." He said, "Honeymoons take second place to this." He said, "Doggone," he says, "God, my kid's being born. Well, that was good too." But he says, "My God, I'm up there with Krupa. It was the highlight of my life as a performer." And I said, and he said, "God," he says, "it was the best hour of my." I just can't tell you how cool it was, and how nice Gene Krupa was. And I guess now they didn't have cell phones back then, smartphones, so they couldn't photograph it, but it was ever etched in his memory, huh? Yeah. Man, that's something else. That's a good story to hear. I just love that kind of thing. In any case, there you are. I thought you might enjoy hearing that. There's, yeah. It's, and I guess the guy went on to play in local groups and stuff. He never got famous, but he has that one moment when he played Krupa's club. Huh? Yeah, cool. Anyway, I thought you'd like that story, friends. Best thing I can say, if you're playing an instrument, practice night and day. And sooner or later, you're going to be knocking out those tunes just like anyone else that you admire. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye now, and God bless.